You would think as the capital city, we'd be on the cutting edges of a lot of the statistics, but the reality is we aren't.
It has one of the highest rates of poverty on the East Coast.
It's still segregated in many ways with services, resources. There's still a number of families that are affected by drugs. There are a number of families affected by violence from the community. It's still, I would say, one of those cities that it's tough to make it in. That's the reality, even in a capital city.
The negative influence of hoodlums and thugs in our community is devastating. It is devastating. And our kids want to be cool. Our kids want to be in the in crowd. And too often that in crowd is the wrong element. So we have to create an environment where they can see there's another way to do this. You don't have to hang on the corner. You don't have to sell drugs. You don't have to have your pants halfway down your behind. You can be a decent, upright, fine person.
And what I've noticed over the years are an absence of fathers. You notice more and more younger mothers, single parents, grandparents raising the children. You see the foundation eroding right before your eyes. You see kids that are falling into a system that if maybe they had a little bit more support or they had a little bit more resources, that would have made the difference in that situation.
I didn't even get to tell my mom bye or anything, and they just took us away. And it was me and my two sisters, which my mom had 6 kids, but they separated us in groups of 3. The foster care experience, it forced me to be a mother at 9 years old because I was forced to protect my sisters and look out for them, and that's a lot of responsibilities for a 9-year-old.
I had a daughter and a son, and my husband died when they were like 11 and 12, so I really was raising them myself along with relatives. And I adopted my niece, and over a period of time, she had 6 boys. And by being unable to take care of them, I took them over. They probably would be all over the state somewhere, because that's what the judge has said. They'll place them in different homes all over the state. And like I said, I just couldn't have that.
What we really want to do is stabilize the family before it gets fragmented. That's the first line of defense. Keep families that are together. And when you see that family beginning to break at the seams, do what is necessary for them to go through that healing.
When we look at the landscape of poverty in America, of places where families are the greatest in need, what we find is that the entity that is the most dominant in that community is a house of faith. And people trust it, they believe in it, they support it.
Trinity Village Center came to my spirit, my mind, from the African proverb, it takes a village to rear a child.
One of the smartest things that Trinity Baptist Church did was start a nonprofit that could address community issues in a way that the church can't necessarily always address them.
Everything that we were going to do for the community that the church couldn't do, Trinity Village Center would do. Now we can partner with the city. Now we can partner with the community area agency on aging. Now we can partner with the juvenile justice system. Now we can partner with the prisons.
The Trinity Family Life Center created a program where you address, community health concerns, such as our fitness center and our fitness programs. You address school readiness for children who come from underserved communities by having an academic centered child care center, addressing the senior populations and their needs, and with our senior daycare, et cetera. And just having a safe environment where people can come and be productive and increase their well-being on different levels.
In looking at the faith-based initiative for Casey, we wanted to make sure that we could reach out into communities, not superimpose a model on the community, but build from the community, from the ground up, using houses of faith and people of faith coming together to save vulnerable children and vulnerable families.
Strengthening Families, Uplifting Communities is a part of the project that we're collaborating with Casey Family Programs. It has 3 components. The first will provide services and programs for children who are at risk of being in foster care, children who are in foster care, birth parents, foster parents, and kinship caregivers.
Now that the Family Life Center is up and running, is okay, I can drop them off, because especially they love basketball. The oldest one is nothing but basketball. So I know I can put them over there and do whatever, I have to do, errands I have to run or go out shopping.
The second component is the How Are the Children Community Collaborative, made up of stakeholders, community members, foster care alumni, business partners. So it's kind of the focus group in creating innovative ideas and strategies that could be duplicated through the city, the state, and nationally as well. The last component is our Foster Care Alumni Support Center, which is a safe place with community resources in order to provide young people who are about to age out, ages 16 to 17, and those who've already aged out with the much needed resources, skill training, and just nurturing environment of mentors to help them reach their goals and become successful and productive young people.
And by them having this program that's helping foster care, being mentors and helping them with job placements, resumes, and just being like a big brother, big sister. Like, I wish I could have had that growing up.
We do have some really terrific programs here in Virginia aimed at trying to help support those young people, but this piece of the faith-based community wrapping their arms around those young people is novel and a real contribution.
This environment here that Trinity has created in terms of this Family Life Center can play a major role in strengthening and working with strengthening families, providing social outlets for these young people and their families, as well as the educational supports, the cultural supports and outlets that so many of our children and our families need.
I hope that the Strengthening Family Uplifting Communities program, as well as just the model of the Trinity Family Life Center, is something that can kind of be a beacon of hope to show what faith communities with partners can do to actually transform communities, one family at a time.
This initiative, as well as others that we will launch across the country, will be done because we have people who believe that the communities that have the greatest negative social indicators can truly change. And we can do something that will better the lives for children and families if we just sat down at the table, pooled our resources, and made a decision to follow the plan. And that's what we see in Richmond, Virginia at Trinity Baptist Church. We're partners that are willing to implement the plan and make things happen for people who need help the most.